up, everybody? Welcome to Field Prep. We are currently in process of building a 2013 Chevy Corvette into a competitive drift car for Formula Drift for the 2018 season. Right now, we're kind of in the place where we're getting parts, and as soon as the parts show up, we're putting them on the car. So this week, we get some really cool stuff, really exciting stuff, like the sequential shifter from HGK. We get some alternator, we play with some master cylinders, we get our new drive shaft, and we put it in the torque tube, and kind of exploring and learning a little bit more about the Corvette. Since I don't know a whole lot about it, we just dove into it. So, you know, we run into snags, we run into issues, we figure it out as we go, we do as much research as possible, and we hammer down. So I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode.
All right, so we just got our billet MechMan alternator in from CBM Motorsports. Let's open it up, check it out. Yeah, this thing's really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a test fit and make sure everything works. Everything's supposed to be bolt on and go. That's one of the beautiful things about this build, is we're trying to make everything as bolt on as possible. So if we have a parts failure or we need to replace something, order it, bolt it on. It eliminates a lot of fabrication work and trackside extra work that we don't have time to do. Perfect.
We got our new supercharger from Vortech Superchargers. This is the old one from the S14. So we're gonna take the pulleys and some of the stuff off that we transferred onto it for the Corvette setup and put it on our new supercharger and get that fit up. Something that I didn't know, but of course it makes sense. This is like a reverse rotation supercharger. It rotates one way and that needs to rotate the other. Because this is driven, you know, flipped backwards basically on the S14, and on the Corvette it's flipped forward. So this is actually shaped different, so it is going to look a little bit different when it's sitting up in there, but it's also good because it's going to make our intercooler piping fabrication that much easier. We got the supercharger on. We're figuring out the oil feed and return stuff with it. Fortunately, A&A provides you with a line for it. Ty and I were figuring, oh, we're gonna need this fitting and this crazy adapter, and then I looked in the box that A&A gave us, and wouldn't you know it, the perfect hose goes right to the blower. It is gonna be a little bit long. We're gonna trim it down and go right into the pan. Ty just marked the pan right here.
All right, so here's our new drive shaft shop carbon fiber drive shaft and our C6 manual torque tube. Now, I've never touched one of these before, so I have no idea how it's going to come apart, so it's going to be a little bit of exploratory surgery here, but hopefully it's not too big of a deal, and I'll get this thing apart and get it all together.
So we need to modify the fast intake manifold. There's a bunch of extra ports on there for like all the evap stuff that clicks on to stock GM stuff, and we don't need any of that. We're gonna need 1 or 2 ports for a map sensor and the bypass valve to let air out and stuff, but there's all these just like for the stock brake booster. You could put a map sensor here. This is another something, who knows, other things. So we're gonna cut those off, drill them, tap them so it's NPT, so we can put our fittings in, so we can run like this to the bypass valve. We're gonna make our map sensor go here, and the rest we're just gonna cap, clean up, because we don't need it. So we gotta blow this apart, cut it, tap it, clean it, then we'll be good to go. So this is what entails a fast LSXR 102. This is the top half, this is the bottom half. This is what I was talking about earlier with the different length runners. So these are the longest ones. This is more than likely what we're gonna be using. But like I said, they have different length ones depending on what your engine wants, what kind of RPM you're gonna be turning. So we're gonna remove this runner so that we can get in here, drill, tap, clean all the crap out. So we got the hole tapped, both of them. Put a little bit of thread sealant on here. Put that in, the 16th NPT, put it in, we're good. Just got that tapped out so we can put our adapter fitting for our bypass valve. Got to pull off the throttle body so we can hack off this one over here, plug that, and we're good to go.
Alright, so that's pretty simple. This is our overflow tank for our dry sump. If we have any like oil slosh or we overfill the tank, it'll fill up into this reservoir, and then we can easily drain it trackside or in the trailer, wherever we need to.
I'm gonna mount the aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. Ty and I kind of have been discussing where it's gonna go, and we think we found a good spot. The fuel pump location is still kind of up in the air. We're not 100% on it. We're waiting for some answers back, but I think this is where it's gonna go. Gonna place this right here. I have my first mark. The return is gonna snake down here and run down the transmission tunnel. This is gonna go to one of each side of the fuel rails for the back. So we're gonna feed the fuel rails from the front, through the fuel rails to the regulator, and then from the regulator it's gonna go to the back. So I think this is kind of the best place for it, as the whole engine bay is getting pretty full. All right, I just gotta get this square, mark my second hole, drill it, and we will be good to go. Got my 2 riv nuts mounted. Now we're gonna thread this thing in. Hopefully it lines up, since it was kind of a pain to measure in there. All right. Then the 2 return lines will go up to the rails. This will return back to our tank. Perfect. This is the plug that came in the ARE oil filter adapter, and I decided that I want to run my oil pressure sensor right here. So I couldn't really do much about this since it's a hex head. So I bought this flat head one, but it's -12A and O-ring, and I was trying really hard to find one with an 8th NPT adapter. I just couldn't find it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drill it out, tap it to 8th NPT, and then this will go in here, and our oil pressure sensor will sit right there, and we'll be all good. I wish I could have found a -12A and O-ring with 8th NPT, but I didn't, so we'll make our own. Not a big deal. Alright, then all we gotta do is tap it, and we will be good to go. Alright, now our hole is tapped. Got some threads in there. 8th NPT. Boom. This is gonna go right in there. And then our temp sensor is gonna be right there. Pressure sensor, sorry. I need to add some sort of protection here for the oil tank. What I'm gonna do is a piece of 1.25 inch, probably chromoly, and I'm gonna put it right up in here, just below the can, so that if we get any impact from the side here, should be more protected. And if any of the suspension or anything breaks and the wheel tries to go back into the oil tank, it'll be more protected. I don't think that this is the end all, like it's gonna be 100% safe. There's still a risk having it out here, but since it's really the only place for it to go, it needs this. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop some of this more of the car off, the fiberglass, chip off all the crazy glue stuff, and then bend up a piece of tube for it, fit it in, weld it, and we should be good. Took the oil can out because I gotta grind off the glue off the frame rail. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad. I was hoping that it was just gonna chip off. But since I'm landing my tube right around here, I gotta clear the area. So here we go. There she is. I really hope it clears the tire. So the next thing that we are concerned about is getting our water line fittings out of our water pump into the back of the car, but still clearing the supercharger. As you can see here, there's not a whole lot of room. And this fitting goes up in here, but it hits the supercharger. So we need to figure out what we're gonna do to this water line fitting to be able to try to get it right through here. So this is what we came up with. We're using the stock little 45 guy there. We're gonna cut it, weld on the -20, and then this will actually work. Boom.
As you can see here, I got it all cut. I got that surface down there ready, but it's still a little bit too long, and we're making contact here against the side of the frame rail. So what I'd like to do is try and find a way to get an inch out of this thing. Still have enough room to weld it. Cut it with the angle grinder. I've got this thing chucked up in one of the fittings. The rotation rotates this way, so I got to make sure I'm cutting in this direction so that it tightens and doesn't loosen up.
the shifter and the lower plate. This lower plate is what the cable goes through that goes to the back of the car, and this is what actuates it. I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this in and see how it fits and see if we have to do any modification, but should all go right in.
Alright, so I got both pieces cut now, cleaned up on the ends, made together pretty nicely, just about ready to weld. I went ahead and test fit it. It's still pretty close, but this is about the max I can take out of both ends. Still have some room for weld and not interfere with the threads here. I'm going to go ahead and tack it together, do a final fitment, make sure everything's good, it's all going to clear, and then go ahead and finish welding it. Alright, see how she fits.
Now that water line's going in the right direction. What I'm doing right now is marking the firewall, figuring out our -20 fittings and how they're all going to go through it. Since Ty has been working on getting the water out of the water pump, now we got to place the bulkheads on the firewall and see where they're going to go. So I have it marked out in here. This is where the bulkhead is going to go in, and they're going to have one of these -20 Earls guys coming out at a 45 and running down along the side of the car there. So, got my first mark marked out, gonna drill it, whole side, drill my second one next to it, make sure they're as close together but still have room. So I got the bulkheads placed on the plate, and what I'm actually going to be doing is welding on the bulkhead nuts on the back of the plate so that if they ever do come loose, I don't have to pull the whole plate off of the car. So that's them sitting there. It's water out of the motor to the radiator, water from the radiator back to the motor, and then that's for the steam ports. So what I'm going to do is actually weld these bulkhead nuts here so that if the fittings ever do come loose, I just tighten them up here, put the fittings back on, and we're good to go. There we go. Now they can't move, the fittings can come on and off. Real happy about that. It's all laid out. Works from the water pump to the firewall. On the other side of the water pump to the firewall, this is where the steam ports are gonna go. Then all of that is gonna go to the back of the car. That's where we're gonna have our swirl pot, our expansion tank, the radiator, all that stuff is going in the back. And this is what's gonna transfer through the firewall. So nice little bulkhead that we made. I need to place this Vortech bypass valve on the intercooler. It's going to go right about here. Here's the flange for it. This is where it's going to go on the intercooler. So I need to grind the flange in a little bit so that it'll fit. Drill the hole, weld it up, throw the intercooler back in there. I rounded out this bypass valve flange so that it sits flat against the intercooler. All the gaps are tight. So now we have to drill this with a hole saw. We're going to put a vacuum in here at the same time so that it helps keep all the chips out of the intercooler core. And then once we get the hole drilled, we'll place it on there, weld it, and then we'll start working on where this is going to go to the throttle body because this needs some work. We're going to weld on our Vibrant Van Jan clamps right here and get that all ready for some intercooler piping. We got the bypass valve flange tacked on. We're going to go ahead and weld that up, and then we'll start working on there. I wanted to show you guys a little bit about this HD clamp because a lot of people are like, how is that good? How does the intercooler piping, how do you get it to line up? How does it seal? All that. But these are a serious piece of engineering right here. So it has this quick release pin that you pull the pin out. It's got a little locking mechanism in it so that it doesn't come out. This two pieces come apart, a nice clamshell. Then you have the actual clamp and flanges itself. So this band holds together the two pieces. So the band is obviously very important, the machining, and these are what gets welded onto the intercooler piping to the intercooler, whatever. So like for instance this, I have my piece of intercooler piping. You can weld it right up against here. Obviously we wouldn't want the bead roll in it, but you weld the clamp right to the intercooler piping. You weld the other side of the clamp to some other intercooler piping, to the intercooler, to whatever you have. Put the two halves together, slip the band on them, get the locking mechanism, put the locking mechanism on it, around, down.
And the cool thing about these is that it has up to 12 degrees of movement on these pieces. So if your intercooler piping is not exactly aligned, you can make it align with that. I mean, you guys can see right there the misalignment, and it has so much play and movement. It makes the putting on of intercooler piping very, very easy. Even if you crash or whatever, a lot of times these type of clamps won't line up if they're not perfect, but Vibrant has you covered because they do move so much. I love it. I've been using these for 3 years now, and I will definitely never go back to traditional coupler and T-bolt clamp, that's for sure. So we have the piece of intercooler piping that we're going to be using. Right now, Ty and I are measuring to figure out how much to start trimming off of this, because what we want to do is try to utilize an off-the-shelf bend as much as possible. This is a piece from CX Racing. They have a ton of different bends, 45, 90s, I don't know what this is. This is like a 75, I think. So before we get our Vibrant clamp set and the angle set on that, we want to trim this piece down so that if we ever do wreck intercooler piping, have to make duplicates, whatever, it's just a straight cut up at the throttle body, straight cut down on the intercooler, and the intercooler hopefully takes up all the angle and any kind of work, but this piece seems like it's going to fit perfect. And this is the bypass valve. Now that the flange and everything is welded on there, this is the V-band clamp that holds that on there. That's kind of how it's going to be. Starting to lay out nicely.
As more and more things show up, we continue to push forward on the Corvette. Things are moving along. I'm happy. We're figuring things out as they go, but there's a whole bunch of unknowns. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. Make sure you check back in next Tuesday, where we're going to be diving in even deeper into the Corvette, busting our knuckles, getting dirty, figuring out what goes where. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.
So the S14's in here. Might be asking why. Well, I'm going to Winter Jam.